So we kick off a new month. Happy March. Means we get to kick off a new series. And this month's series is entitled Cultivating Authenticity. And it's a part of our year-long theme, Live Out Loud. Throughout this month, we will explore the practice of cultivating authenticity and living in integrity in all areas of our lives in order to fully express who we are and who we are here to be in this world. So let's first look at what do we mean by the word authenticity. Well, Brené Brown, as you all know, one of my favorites, she offers this definition. Authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. So living authentically is not about becoming anything other than who we are. Yet it does require a bit of inner excavation in order to recognize and then release the thoughts and the beliefs and the behavior patterns that can act as barriers to us standing and living in our full power and potential and truth. So it's like peeling back those layers of an onion in order to get to the center or the core, the truth of who we are. It's more about undoing and remembering who we are than it is about finding our authentic self somewhere out there. The journey is within. And we know that each one of us is a unique expression of the divine. And what stands between us and our authentic expression, how we show up in the world, is a collection of thoughts, patterns of belief, and attitudes that are ingrained in our minds through various life experiences over our lifetime. There's a barrage of messages that we hear from our parents or teachers, religions, the messages of the media. There is so much noise in the world telling us who we should or shouldn't be, yes? And often, they're very conflicting messages. For example, women, shout out Women's History Month, women are encouraged to be strong, right? And assertive in order to be successful and get what we want. But then at the same time, we're labeled bossy or pushy when we do. And we're told to smile more or be more nurturing and kind. Tell us how you really feel. So there's so many messages out there, right, telling us who we should or shouldn't be based on things such as our gender or our age or our ethnicity. But it doesn't even begin to touch the vast nature of who we really are. Those are identities, are ways that we show up and express in the world. They're aspects of ourselves, but not our full selves. As humans, we have the tendency to want to put people in nice little boxes, right? So we can better understand them. And in doing so, we miss the opportunity to actually know them more, beyond the labels. You know, there's a saying that if you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. It goes for all identities, right? If you've met one, you've met one. So let us not have these labels and identities be a generalization of who we really are. Let us not take for granted the individual expression of this life energy, this source of life that is always moving through us and is who we truly are. So I invite you now to take a moment and think about what are some of the messages you've received through your lifetime, whether it be from your family, your friends, teachers, religions, media, anything about who they think you are, right? And then what of those messages do you really know to be true about yourself? So this is the work, right? I know right now, this is the work to take home, to meet with a practitioner, call up a prayer partner, do some journaling around, right? So what are those things that we have always been told we are? First, it's to recognize that that's who they think we are. And then we are the ones who get to decide if it's true about us. And to ask, are we willing to have a fresh perspective and a new insight and understanding about ourselves? And I love this question, to ask, how does God or spirit, life, universe within you know you to be? How does God see you? How does God know you? And that is a place to begin to sit with this inner being that is the wholeness and the authentic nature of your life. So it has been said, be yourself because everyone else is already taken. And while it's something that we can all easily agree on, like, yeah, of course I'm going to be me, it's easy to find ourselves sacrificing who we are in order to fit in. It's our kind of human nature. To make other people happy or show a certain side of ourselves so that we will be liked, so that they will approve of us. And often by the time we're adults, this has become an unconscious pattern or unconscious way of being based on kind of a self-protection mode that we created when we were younger. So this idea to just be yourself. No one else can be you. Just go be you, right? It sounds simple, but it really does require some unpacking of the ideas that we have assumed about ourselves at this stage of our life in order to then peel back those layers of the onion and reveal our authentic selves. And this work is something that we do ongoing, right? Because we are always growing and expanding. Such is the nature of life within us. That is who we are, to always be growing and expanding. So who we knew ourselves to be 10, 20 years ago is not who we are now, because we have a greater understanding of our authentic selves. Another one of my personal meditation practices is to sit in the inquiry of this question. Who am I? And just listen and repeat. Who am I? Who am I really? And first, at least for me, the answers, the words that start to flow through my mind are roles, right? I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I'm a daughter. I'm a minister. I'm a friend. But then as we ask deeper and deeper, who am I really? The next layer for me is stuff like, I am creative. I'm a dancer. I'm a lover of life. I'm a spiritual being. Who am I really? Eventually takes me to a place beyond words and descriptors. It's more of a feeling tone, of a vibration of light and love. It's that place of oneness, yet still aware of my own individuality, right? Not being absorbed in the oneness of all, but feeling that essence of who I am. We are all individual expressions of this one life, and within us is the divine spirit that is our authentic self. This self is perfect, whole, and complete. It is who we are at our core. And as Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of the Science of Mind teaching, says, who we are at our core is as eternal as God, as indestructible as reality, and as changeless as truth. So through spiritual practices such as self-inquiry meditation, we can explore our inner life as a reminder of who we really are. And then when we lose sight of that through the constant activity of our daily lives, We can return to our spiritual practice and rediscover the freedom that comes when we release the pressure to be who we are not, and to identify and let go then of those roles or ways of being that no longer serve us. And it takes work, because the moment we are born, we are told, be like this, don't be like that, or, play with this and not that, so that we can meet certain societal expectations. These expectations outside of us from other people, in order to make them feel better or maintain the the status quo. Don Miguel Ruiz refers to this process as domestication. When our needs and wants become less important than how we needed to be able to fit in and get by without making too much of a fuss, right? Or ruffling many feathers. Don't upset the apple cart, right? We have all these phrases in our vernacular because they are common experiences. Yet through self-inquiry and journaling, therapy, working with a spiritual practitioner, our own spiritual practices and study, we can create space to do the inner work, to awaken from the domestication of life and get to know who we really are, instead of who we think we're supposed to be based on other people's expectations. The journey of cultivating authenticity is a conscious practice to rediscover who we truly are and awaken that which has been hidden by our own BS. Not only our own BS in that way, but also in our own belief systems, right? Or BS of what we believe, who we are, and how we've come to know ourselves, sometimes through external forces. So when we let go of all of that, then we can choose to show up authentically or not. But we are at choice. And through awareness and choice, that is where our power lives. That is the beautiful gift of our spiritual understanding, that we are always at choice. And I get that it doesn't always feel safe to live authentically. We learned there's consequences to not fitting in with the group or maintaining the status quo. And the instinct within us to survive and need to belong is so strong that we would rather hide or mask our authentic self for fear of those consequences, whether it be fear of rejection or abandonment, or fear that we are not enough, or that we may be unlovable. So these things hold us back, again, but from that place of self-protection. When Dr. Ernest Holmes in this thing called You reminds us and invites us to start from the truth. He says, your soul belongs to the universe. Your mind is an outlet through which the creative intelligence of the universe seeks fulfillment. Now, when he says mind, I want to be clear that he doesn't just mean your brain, right? Your mind, like your consciousness, your awareness, your essence. Your mind is an outlet through which the creative intelligence of the universe seeks fulfillment. Another way of saying that is seeks to know itself more fully through each of us. So when we start with this knowing of ourselves as a perfect, unrepeatable pattern of God, a unique being that is born perfect, whole, and complete, this invites us to embrace all of ourselves, our true self, all parts, even those that society and others may have told us are not so likable. So life is not asking us to be anything other than who we are. And there is no authentic self outside of us to seek. It is simply a realization and remembering of our innate self to be revealed, to be fully expressed, and to be seen. And we can't be seen if we hide. Just like we can't experience a sense of belonging and connection and community if we don't let others in. In order to cultivate authenticity, we can no longer hide the parts of ourselves that we are afraid for other people to see. And this can be very vulnerable and scary because the reaction, the outcome is out of our control. You know, like, what if I show myself and they don't like me? Well, maybe, and maybe not. And guess what? That's okay. Everyone isn't for everyone. And it doesn't mean we are any less than whole. I remember recently having this conversation with my daughter, right? Letting her know that it's okay to not like everyone or want everyone to be close and in your inner circle, to be friends with everyone. In the same way, not everyone will like you, but that's okay. It doesn't mean that you are any less than. It is simply a preference. But always we can still be kind. Yes. And the more we express our authentic selves, the vibration of who we are will then resonate with other beings, attracting those to us who vibe with us. Yes?
Yeah.
It's like those tuning forks. I was sitting here earlier looking at the Yamaha logo, and I never noticed before that those are their tuning forks kind of crossed in this pattern. So we come together and our vibration and our energy begins to resonate with others through this creative attractive power of the universe, and we begin to create a beautiful harmony of love vibration. That's how we have gathered in this space to see and to know and to reveal love, and to know that this is a space where we can show up fully in our authentic selves. And yet I do want to address that for some, not only does it feel scary, but it is actually dangerous. It can be dangerous to walk in the world authentically in today's climate because there are so much misguided fear that is showing up. For example, in the multitude of anti-trans and don't say gay bills.
Boo! Yeah.
Which is why it's so important for all of us, let me hear this, for all of us to advocate for a world that works for everyone. Not putting the burden on the oppressed communities to just go be yourself and be authentic in an unsafe world, right? That's not fair. We as allies, those that have privilege and access to power, have to use that to create a safe place for everyone to be authentic.
Right on.
Yep. And at the same time, it doesn't mean that we should hold back ourselves in order to please the status quo or bring comfort to someone else, right? There's a lot of nuance to this, but it's personal, right? And only you will know. You have to trust your inner gut, right? Like, is this safe? Is this a time to push the boundary and show up fully, right? But how can we together begin to create a world that is loving and honoring and accepting of all walks of life and expression and identities and ethnicities and abilities? We must come together and hold this vision of a world that works for everyone. A world where trans folks can use the bathroom, go to school, or play sports without their authenticity being questioned. As the Quakers say, we pray, but we pray and move our feet. So there's many opportunities, especially right now, if you're interested, to get more involved and to let your voice be heard. That's not what I'm talking about today, but talk amongst yourself. There are people in this room that have connections and that can get you hooked up if you're interested in advocating, in sending the letters, and going to Frankfurt and letting your voice be heard. And the next point I want to share is about courage. It takes courage to go against the grain and to march to the beat of your own drum. Not just on our individual level of self-expression, but it takes courage to stand up for love and to build a world for all beings and bodies that are safe to be authentic and free. A world that loves and honors all. Brene Brown writes, courage is a heart word. The root of the word courage is cor, the Latin word for heart. It is one of the earliest forms. In one of its earliest forms, the word courage meant to speak one's mind by telling one's heart. I love that. It's like this idea of letting your heart be revealed or seen. It takes courage. And there are days when we'll have more courage than others, where we are feeling able to be more vulnerable and share and express. And some days where we may struggle. Living out loud authentically will bring us to the growing edge of our comfort zone. So consider if there are people or situations where you find it difficult to be your authentic self. Just start with noticing that. Noticing the places where you show up and don't quite feel your authentic self. Is it something for you to grow and stretch and have courage to express and share? Or is it just not your people, not your vibe? Is it unsafe? Is it unfriendly, right? We have to trust that inner guidance and always be listening and noticing. Are we coming from a place of fear, but that can be overcome through courage and be bold? Or is this really not my place or space? And to find ways to practice self-love and compassion and bring our full heart and courage in those situations. To speak up when it's hard, to say what needs to be said, even when it's hard. Even when you're the only one in the room that may have that opinion, you simply voicing that, if it's a safe space, creates a shift in the dynamic and in the energy, and perhaps creates an opening for a new perspective, for someone to see something new. So courage is that impetus to keep us moving forward, even when it's hard. And in those moments, we can lean into each other, right? Surrounding ourselves with people that we love and trust to support us on our journey of cultivating this authenticity and give us opportunities to be vulnerable. When we show up as our full authentic selves, it also gives others permission to do the same. You know, I'm thinking of a time when there's like a small group and there's kind of an assumption about a certain belief about something. And then one person shares, well, actually, I'm not so sure. I started wondering or questioning about this. And then everyone's like, oh yeah, okay, me too, right? How much are we holding these ideas because of this kind of group consciousness when they no longer serve us? But it takes that one person to be brave enough to say it. And then it gives others permission to, oh yeah, you're right. Me too, right? It's how movements are created, right? That one person to stand up and dance first. It's usually Karen Riggins. She's not here today. Karen, you got to dance for us at home today, right? And then we feel like, oh yeah, that feels good. I want to do this in safe space. I can do that. I don't care if somebody's judging my moves. I can be myself. That's not really my move. I was judging myself in that one. So imagine what our world would look like if we really allowed ourselves to be true to ourselves and to be that embodiment of love, allowing love to lead the way in our relationships, and to drop the desire of our personality that wants to defend or prove itself, and reconnect with our authenticity that would simply ask, what would love do now? Knowing that love is our authentic nature. Love is who we are. And guess what, y'all? Love is always the answer. So there are many more aspects of this idea of authenticity that we're going to explore this month with a little more attention and detail and nuance, including how to truly love and honor ourselves, to set healthy boundaries, and express ourselves fully. But this week, the invitation is to spend some time really getting to know yourself. Perhaps you want to take yourself out on a date. Spend some time getting to know yourself. And think about something that you used to love to do when you were younger. When you felt free and alive and fully self-expressed. Maybe it's dancing or riding a bike or painting or drawing or playing a game. What would it be like if you gave yourself permission to do that this week as a way of inviting in that authentic self, that creative self that knew once how to play and have fun, right? What makes us feel alive and unique? You know, with all that's happening in the world, it can be easy to take life so seriously. Whew, I know, I can get caught up in that myself. But it's only through returning to the core essence of who we are, that love, that joy, that we can refuel actually to make the bigger difference in the world. So if you find yourself taking yourself too seriously, think of a way you can play this week in a way that nurtures that inner child, and that is fun. Let's have some fun, shall we? And if you notice that there is something that you maybe packed away years ago because some outside voice told you that you can't sing or you're not good enough to express or do this or that and the other, I especially encourage you to embody that courage to do that thing again, even just for yourself in the mirror. Or if you really want to practice courage, take a video and post it in our community group. And if you really, really want to express courage, we're going to be having an open mic night coming up in April. So be thinking about that. I want to see, I know y'all have some secret hidden talents. It's going to be a fun, safe space to express that together. So I leave you with this. As Carl Gustav Jung says, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Yes? All right, let's take that into prayer. Drop it down in your center. Taking that nice deep breath. Again, breathing in and letting go. Knowing and recognizing the one life that is this eternal presence of love, of peace, of joy, of wholeness, moving in as and through each of us. Knowing and recognizing this life of freedom and creativity, that there is only one life, one power, one presence in the universe, and it is who I am. I am that drop of water in the ocean that contains all of the ocean. So therefore, as God is, I am. I am peace. I am whole. I am free. And I sit in this awareness, affirming, knowing, embodying this full potential and possibility and power and essence of the universe as my life in expression. Knowing that there is only one thing happening right here, right now. And as I speak this word in the first person for myself, I speak from the I that is we, knowing this truth for all. So I invite you to hear this prayer in the I of your own soul and spirit. Knowing that I am whole, I am perfect, I am complete. I am more than enough. I am love in expression. I allow love to lead the way in all that I do. I have the courage to show up authentically, free to be me. And I listen to that inner voice and that knowing, distinguishing that intuition that is guiding me with love and encouraging me to step out courageously, to express, to be, and to become all that I'm here to be in this world, on this planet, at this time. To fully embody the essence of life that is seeking to express through me and know itself better as this unique individual called, named, state your name. I am. I am. I simply am. So with a breath of love and gratitude, I accept the fulfillment of this prayer. Knowing it is done as I release it into the law that says, yes, 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 my beloved, it is done. And it is so.